How about that? It says we're live. I'll have to believe them. I guess I can check. Just a moment. I was over here hitting the dab pen, jamming out to some Bruce Springsteen, watching the NFL draft on mute. What a night. Audio sounds good, folks. Let's do it. It's Friday night. It's 8 o'clock. It's Sacktap Live, and we are live. We're here. I am here reminding you, please give us a follow on social media, Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler, and tell your friends, check out at Mike's Golden Streams on YouTube. Savage Sacktap, the podcast, is out there as well. I put the audio up every week now. I've started doing that again. And if you don't mind, if you're enjoying this on your phone, please just grab a quick screen grab and you throw it up on your Instagram stories. You let the people know where they can come on a Friday night and have a good time, have a couple laughs, talk about the great issues affecting the world, and mostly talk about my commute is what we mostly talk about here. We talk about the problems that plague my commute, and it appears my commute has gotten a bit more dangerous. We'll get into that in just a moment. Before that, I had to share this because there was just so much about this fucking last Sunday. I went hiking with the woman that I spend my free time with, and she's into, I'm like a beach guy. She likes to do some hiking. So before the summer starts, I agree, I was like, all right, I'll go hit the trails. And we went to Breakneck Ridge in fucking upstate New York, and aptly named because to get to the trail, you have to climb up this several 100-foot high, it's called a rock scramble. So you're just climbing from rock to rock, and it's going higher and higher up the side of this mountain. It's like one of the mountains next to Bear Mountain. I'll at some point I'll put the picture up on Instagram of me doing this climb, because there was a moment where you're climbing and you're on a rock it's almost a perfectly smooth face. Like, my hands are actually getting a little sweaty now just remembering it and telling you about it. And there was like a moderately stiff breeze up there. There aren't a lot of spots to put your hands, so you have to get to like very specific spots. And she scooted up ahead of me, so I was like, oh, like, that's fine. But as I was going up, I got to look back behind me and was like, oh fucking shit. That is a long fucking way down. Like, this was the one part of the climb that was like, oh, this is kind of like the other spots. It was like there were little landings and stuff where if anything goes wrong, you're probably gonna be okay. This was like best case scenario. If you go down, you're shattering a couple of limbs. So it was a wild hike, but I felt like a fucking savage after completing it. So we're up there, and we brought lunch, so we found like a quiet spot to chill out, like right off the trail. There was just like a little overlook, so you could enjoy the view. We were drinking a beer, relaxing, and I'm not for let's just say, we live in the type of society where if you say the wrong thing, you can get an incredible degree of trouble. But there's a certain group of people who are very loud on the bus in the morning, and here I was, out in nature, risking life and limb to find some peace and quiet on a trail on Bear Mountain, and all out of nowhere comes a Bluetooth, the sound of a Bluetooth speaker, blasting mariachi music, and fucking a loud, shrill conversation among a dozen people, the likes of which I have not heard since the last time I went to a quinceañera back, whenever I was a fucking sophomore in high school. Um, but other than that, it was lovely. I just thought it was very funny that like you go up to a place like this to escape the daily grind, right? The riding the bus with obnoxious passengers who play fucking music and videos and stuff loud on their phone, and you're out there, just enjoying the breeze and the sunshine and listening to the birds chirp and kind of watching, you can see it's the time of year when the leaves are really starting to pop and everything. It was just a lovely, if you're a nature person, like I'm a very big outdoor guy. I like to hang out outside. It drives me, living in a city, it drives me nuts that like there's not a lot of like chill, quiet outside space to go to. So you're sitting there enjoying that, escaping from all of this. If I go outside here, the fucking there's an ice cream man that just drives laps around this neighborhood playing the exact same song over and over and over again. I don't know how he hasn't blown his brains out yet. But anyway, I found that very funny that even out on the trail, up on a mountain, I could not escape that kind of human behavior. What a Sunday. Howdy to the boys in the comment section. Dustin Landry in the house, Nighttime Conqueror, Rooster. How are we, fellas? I appreciate that, Nighttime Conqueror. I had lapsed severely in posting the audio episodes, and I am back to it. The numbers over there very very low. I don't do a whole lot of promotion because I've been working on so much stuff in my the fitness side of my career. There will be a time, eventually in the years to come when I start being more aggressive about promoting what I do here. But for now, it's just fun to do. But I appreciate you checking out the audio version and giving me the downloads as well. Donkashane, sir. Yeah. So speaking of my commute, things just getting I mean, I'd say things getting wild, but things have just been um hold on just one second. Uh Jordan, no, I have never done roids. I know a great many people who have. I will say this: the first time I ever tried erection pills was thanks to my friends who were using steroids in college. They all had it because they all had Deca Dick. So you could, they were like, "Yeah, you got to try this shit. It's fucking incredible." And I remember getting one. I don't know. I think it was a Viagra. It wasn't blue. It was white. It was a knockoff from like China or whatever. And I went home with this chick, and she kind of blue balled me. And I woke up the next day, and I was just walking around. It was a Sunday. I was just walking around campus fucking rock hard all day Sunday. Like I had to jerk off so many fucking times with this erection that just would not go away. Because it was, I was like, I think it was like a sophomore. I had to be a junior because it was when I had an off-campus house. And yeah, I was just walking around with a rod. But no, I did not ever take anabolics. I've taken some test boosters. There's one called Alpha Male that I'll take from time to time if I'm like really overworked and I'm not getting enough rest. And then I take this shit called ZMA before I go to sleep at night, which also has a testosterone boosting effect. But I'm not. I just haven't. There's just never been really a reason. You know what I mean? I feel like I don't have a problem with anyone taking them, but I feel like if you're not competing at anything, it's kind of unnecessary. Unless it's like, at some point if you think you need TRT or whatever. But there's never been an occasion where doing that made any sense for me. I hope that thoroughly answered your question. Anyway, back to the goings on in New York City. I was saying, I every once in a while I'll walk into the Port Authority bathroom to take a piss after I get off the bus, and there will be like blood on the floor and a couple cops there fucking talking to people. Like the people just get stabbed at the Port Authority all the time. But this headline hit very, very close to home. Port Authority bus terminal strap hanger stabbed 8 times in neck, arms, needs 46 stitches after maniac strikes. I should be dead. Strap hanger, for those of you who don't know, is a New York City colloquialism for a commuter. So this guy was from Boonton, New Jersey, and he was stabbed while he was reading a book just before 6 a.m. outside the Port Authority bus terminal in Midtown. Now, what's fucking chilling about this for me is that it happened just before 6 a.m. Which is literally when I am commuting in. Like I am this guy. I do read at the Port Authority, but only when I'm upstairs at the terminal for my bus home. Because my bus line tends to be, it's pretty much like me and, a bunch of Indian students going back to like Journal Square or whatever. So it's a reasonably safe crowd. But outside of the terminal, you would never catch me with my face in a fucking book down there. Like that's the spot that I've talked about before, where you go out there and they're just guys walking back and forth with fucking, like, they look like they're ready to stab someone. And I've repeatedly heard people, vagrants, talking to themselves about beheading people or cutting off their hands and shit. Like, you have to go out there ready to do fucking battle. Like, you would not, I am an avid reader, but you would not catch me dead with my head in a book outside the Port Authority. This guy is a silly fucking goose. He says he was blindsided. You can't be blindsided. Yeah, he was on his way to a job downtown. He was leafing through "I Cheerfully Refuse" by Leif Enger when attacker Michael McCloskey, 42, senselessly stabbed him. Listen to this. In plain view of Port Authority police. I was just sitting there reading, and someone came up from my blind side on the right side. I saw him, turned, just saw his face, and all of a sudden the knife went in my neck. He didn't say anything. I love this. The detectives asked if I bumped into him or said anything to him, and I said no, nothing. I was just minding my own business, reading a book. The fucking the detectives asked if you bumped into him. Why does that question even need to be asked? That just sounds wildly unnecessary. After you've just been you set the guy off or something? And he had to go to Dunkin' Donuts to stem the blood flow pouring from his neck with napkins that other people gave him. Yeah. Yeah, so this is they say the guy McCloskey, he's from the city of Watsonville, California. So that's the thing. Like, this guy's here from Watsonville, California. Like, he's just some fucking scumbag who came here. What the fuck he's doing in New York? Like, it's not like this guy came here to work for fucking Merrill Lynch or JP Morgan and like fell on hard times, and that's why he's on the street. Like, this sounds very much like, I don't even fucking know. I know there are a lot of there are a lot of people from like wealthy, well-to-do families who they they want to live this sort of vagrant lifestyle, and they get lost. They're all doing fucking angel dust and living. They live out on the street. Like, it comes from, I don't know what's Watsonville, California like. It's in the Monterey Bay area of the central coast of California. Let's see what's a home go for in Watsonville. Curious. Holy shit. Wow. Yeah. Steep. They go for steep. Yeah, 12.5 million. Woo. You can get a 3-bedroom goes for just under 700,000. Yeah. So Watsonville. So this guy, and this is very common of street people in New York City, is they come they come from these very, very uber wealthy families, and this is not all of them. Obviously, New York City has many of its own kind of homegrown scumbags, but there is a subset of the population in New York City that lives like an intentionally homeless life. Like, there's it probably to a larger degree. If you got to like Brooklyn, like I think it's called like Park Slope Poor or something like that, where you have people with trust funds who are living like this fake bohemian lifestyle, working as baristas, whatever. Like, but it's because they don't have to do shit because their parents are paying their rent and they have access to as much money as they could ever possibly need. They're For them, the lie is that they are destitute. But I guess there's a deeper level of that where people really do go off the deep end. Like, a lot of them were probably out, like Occupy Wall Street. I certainly wouldn't be shocked if these student protests that we'll talk about in a minute get kind of infiltrated by those types as well. Just kind of like these dirty wannabe degenerate kid. They're resentful of their parents' success because maybe if you're from a family that rich, your parents are kind of absent, right? They're wealthy, they're playing with their toys, they're out making more money, or they're having affairs and they don't have time for you. So you start getting into some weird ass drugs and you kind of live like you're some sort of like shitty knockoff Wish version of Charles Manson, but without the followers, and not getting nearly as much pussy. And the next thing you know, you're stabbing somebody outside of the Port Authority bus terminal while he reads a book with a really stupid title. Oh, well, shout out happy Rebecca Black Day, everyone. Good to know. She's a lesbian now, I believe. A while back she was offering to bang Pete Davidson with a strap on. So wonderful. Does Zin give you a rod? Interesting. I'm not a Zin guy. I'm not into all that shit. I try to live kind of as cleanly as possible now because I did so much fucking damage back when I was in my 20s and early 30s. Every once in a while, I do like to have a bit of fun. Especially it's summertime. Go out, go down the shore, get a little loose. But I don't. I At this point, it's mostly weed, mushrooms, and the occasional beverage. Not Not like the old days, kids. Skull. Yeah, I don't I stopped using any kind of chewing tobacco or anything like that after I swallowed some fucking Red Man on a 7-ton ride when I was in the Marine Corps, and it immediately made me start projectile vomiting all over the fucking place. I had to boot into a fucking MRE bag, and then I couldn't hold down any food for the next like 24 hours or so, and I was just walking around fucking gagging up stomach bile. So yeah, needless to say, I do not I do not do that anymore. Yes, Nighttime Conqueror. That is correct. It was Red Man and Bubblegum, Red Man and Big League Chew, to be specific. Courthouse Bay, baby. Oh, yeah, fuck yeah, the tank trails. I used to go for runs back there. Love Courthouse Bay. Good times. Used to go to a titty bar called Cherries out the back gate. There was a woman of African lineage with very large breasts and a nice big natural ass, not like one of these fake ones that you see all over city these days. Like just nice, good, thick, meaty thighs and a big fat ass. And I used to love plopping down in front of her and fucking watching the show. Good times. Good times. Yeah, I heard that was the case. I heard Cherries is no more. I hear that the Driftwood is gone as well, from what I hear. Very sad. Are there Driftwood T-shirts? I wonder if I can get one of those on eBay. This is probably not the thing to do during a live stream. Kind of a waste of everybody's time. But yeah, I got to see if they have like an OD green one. All right, I got to get myself some Driftwood apparel at some point. I love a good T-shirt, and I love the Driftwood. For those of you who don't know, the Driftwood is a titty bar outside of Camp or was, may it rest in peace, outside of Camp Lejeune, and it's like a rite of passage for everyone who goes there. But the youngest and dumbest members of the Marine Corps have been known to wind up impregnating and getting married to dancers there, and those relationships do not usually go too well. And if you're in their chain of command, you wind up having to deal with the repercussions of said toxic and hostile relationships. But we'll save that for the Marine Corps birthday show. There's more. There's more going on in Midtown. There was this migrant brawl. I don't know what set off, but this is on my walk to work. So this was going down in the streets. Let me share it with y'all. That's the wrong one. Here we go. So this is on 8th Avenue. So this is about 2 blocks away from the Port Authority, where I take the bus. This, by the way, and I don't know if you heard, because I was kind of casual about the way I said it, the middle of 8th Avenue. This is the middle of 8th fucking Avenue in New York City. And they're just out there. I don't know if they have chains. One of them has a parking cone. Fucking going at it. As if it's not as if this is not a problem, by the way. That's what I love so much about videos like this is that they are 100% entirely focused and present on the showdown that they are involved in. They don't give a shit at all that they're holding up traffic. Like, if I cross the street and the light turns green and I can see that I'm holding people up getting to the other side, like, I jog and I give an apology wave and all of that. I really feel bad. Big mea culpa. Didn't mean to slow you down. These guys are blocking traffic in 8th Avenue so they can attack each other with fucking parking cones. So one of them, this guy with his back to us right here, he looks like he's got like a chain, like a bike lock or something like that. The other one had like a long stick. I wonder if these are like, old issues left over from, back in the day. They knew each other in another country, or if this is like new shit where you just meet someone that you don't like. Like, I would love to know the root cause behind this. Why? I know we are fighting, but why are we fighting? Oh, he's got him. Wow. I'm gonna watch that again. It was kind of tough to see just because they were where they were positioned. It was a little dark. Here we go. The one guy comes up behind the other guy. Yeah. Woo! Yeah. Wild fucking stuff. This is broad daylight in front of a hotel, which I guess is, if you look it up on Google, I think it's called the Row Hotel. Is that it? Can't see the sign there. I think that's what it's called. I believe it's the Row Hotel. Uh, yeah, the Row Hotel on 8th Ave. Um, it's, yeah, I guess temporarily closed. I think that means it was shut down so they could house migrants there. And these guys are just turning it into a fucking combat zone. This is happening like all over the city, by the way. Just absolutely fucking nuts. They're all they're all zipping around on these e-scooters and mopeds and shit. And because the problem is a lot of them have nowhere to go. So if they don't get picked up for a job during the day or whatever, like we have a million of them in my neighborhood, they just go to the liquor store and they buy a few cans of Bud Ice and they hang out getting fucking wasted, and they're urinating all over the neighborhood. I was walking down the street the other day. There was one, he just had a massive knife and he was trying to dig into a mailbox on a main road in broad fucking daylight. And it's like, what are you going to do? The guy's got a massive fucking knife. I was on my way to the park. There's usually like a county cop over there. I was like, oh, maybe if I see a cop, I can send him over, because if I call the cops, they're not getting here in time to get this fucking guy. So we got that going on. The other day, I'm walking home. It was like around midnight, and there was a house that was under construction and is now occupied by like a family living there, but it still has, after, if you move into a new construction, there's still kind of some stuff around outside that might look like it's a construction site. And three of them come running out of the backyard because they saw someone in the house, because they were obviously trying to go into the house to like hang out and do God fucking knows what. And the other thing that you see a lot of is there's a softball field up the street where a girls' high school team plays, and boy, do they draw an audience. And a lot of gentlemen who do not look like they are parents sitting there smoking blunts, drinking a Bud Ice, watching some teenage girls play softball. So there is an interesting thing going on right now in New York City and the surrounding area. Um, and to add to it, because I'll clear this. To add to it, these fucking college kids. Let me stop sharing this. Um, have decided to. They're basically redoing Chaz and Chop and Occupy, and all of that bullshit at Columbia and NYU. And I think, before, without getting into the merits of the protest or whatever, I think the best way to describe the intelligence of today's college kids is, I was watching this news story about, and I'll talk about, the tent city and everything like that in a second, but this is more just to sort of set the mental picture of a college student in the year 2024. There's this story out on Long Island, college in like Nassau County or some shit. I think it's Nassau Community College because it's a commuter school, which bears into this. They had some sort of contract dispute with the vendor who ran their food court. The vendor decided to pull out, so for the rest of the semester, they don't have a food court. Students are like protesting and pissed off, and they're interviewing them, and one of them gets on and says that they are demanding action from the administration because it cost her $20 to get a bagel Uber Eats delivered to the campus because she's a commuter. So she used to rely on the cafeteria for food. So this genius who commutes to college and has the wherewithal to order a bagel on Uber Eats, it has never occurred to her to go to a grocery store and pick up a fucking rotisserie chicken, have it in the refrigerator, have it wherever, have it ready to go, take it with you in a Tupperware to school, eat that between class for the cost of about $5 plus a bottle of water. There's a $6 meal as opposed to a $14 Uber Eats bagel. And I've been learning more and more about this generation is that they rely very heavily on Uber Eats. Like there's just they're not self-sufficient. Like they need the conveniences of the app have completely fucked up the way they do things, and this includes like being able to just jerk off to anything on your online or on your phone. Guys aren't going out and searching for pussy anymore. Just everything is just turning them into these kind of pea-brained, useless little pussies. And we see them going hog wild on some campuses here in New York City. Yes, nighttime concrete. It is indeed wild, crazy how much college has changed in 15 years. College used to be, and not so long ago, and it's so fucked up. You know what's fucked up is that like when we were growing up, people would say, yeah, back in my day, like we had respect for our elder, back in my day we behaved ourselves, whatever. And I'm here as like an older guy, on the sort of on the cusp of 40, and I'm saying back in my day we wanted to go out and get drunk and chase pussy, and it's like, where have young people gone wrong that they're no longer cool? Like they're just not cool. Like older people are so much fucking cooler than these kids. Like the people I know, like who are in like their 30s and shit and single, are like doing CrossFit and going out on the weekends, hanging on the beach, fucking, banging, having a good time, fucking enjoying life. These little weirdos are erecting tent cities. Well, I don't even know what the fuck they want. Like the demands are so weird. I wonder if let me see if the Post article here has their demands, because it's like stupid shit. They want them to divest, and I think oh, here we go. One of the most prominent faces in the protest camp is Kaimani James, a spokesperson for Columbia United Apartheid divest. They're demanding the university divest from any company that does business with the Israeli military, which includes a wide swath of the Fortune 500. Um, this is an individual, by the way, who previously. Let me pull up. Let me pull up Kaimani. Here's Kaimani. I believe this is. Oh, this is a 6-minute video. We won't. Maybe. Well, you never know.
Fight to injure or for there to be a winner or a loser. I fight to kill. See y'all in New York, January 2024.
So that's specifically what we're going to be discussing today. Do you see why that's problematic in any way?
No.
Do you think that there's a serious weight in taking someone else's life?
I think there is a serious weight in taking someone's life. And at the same time, I think that taking someone's life in certain case scenarios is necessary and better for the overall world.
By the way, that was the specific philosophy of the extremists who were driving the French Revolution, who were also that revolution as well was run by like a sort of left wing, artist, basically who the people we would think of like the libs today, the fucking. Who's that annoying John Legend and what's his wife? Like the uber woke, like them. But can you imagine who gives a fucking shit what this guy has to say? Like, of all people, that should the response from Colombia should be like, yeah, we're not taking this guy seriously. He's declaring that people should kill. By the way, if Donald Trump did this, if Donald Trump said this about someone, the fucking mainstream media would be losing their minds. They would be losing their minds.
And so I personally have never killed anyone. Thank the Lord that no one has put me in that position. Though when Hitler died, the world rejoiced. Everyone looks back at that time period and said that Hitler needed to die because he was exacting an immense amount of harm against the world. And so just like that, during the Haitian Revolution, their Haitian slaves had to kill their masters in order to gain their independence. These were masters who were white supremacists. What is a Zionist? A white supremacist. And so let's be very clear here.
This is what happens, by the way. When you don't play football growing up. This is why fucking get your kids involved in football, in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, in wrestling, in something that is going to challenge them and develop them and not let them become whatever the fuck is going on here. Maybe he's got the Deion Sanders thing going with the chain and the bandana, so maybe he is a football fan. Maybe he's a big Coach Prime fan. Maybe that's what's going on.
I'm not saying that I'm gonna go out and start killing Zionists. What I'm saying is that if an individual who identifies as a Zionist threatens my physical safety in person, i.e., puts their hands on me, I am going to defend myself. And in that case scenario, it may come to a point where I don't know when to stop.
I mean, unless He could be carrying a firearm. I don't know. It's possible, or a knife or something like that. But otherwise, I would be like the least afraid of this guy. Like, if I feel like if a Zionist puts his hands on you, he's going to like if an Israeli got his hands on this douchebag, I feel like with the built up rage that those people are feeling right now, like knowing that their friends and loved ones are still held hostage, I feel like it would not go well. But who knows?
Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying.
There should not be Zionists anywhere. Zionists are Nazis.
For my identity as a Black queer woman in New York City, obviously, if I'm on the train and I'm sexually assaulted or harassed in some way, like I may turn around and slap somebody, right? Doing and saying that versus saying that, you fight to kill. And you made a comment earlier where you stated that you may not know your own strength behind why, or you may not have the resistance to stop, right?
Again, I don't think anybody is worried about his strength at all. I mean, we all saw Revenge of the Nerds when Lamar threw that javelin. They had to make a special javelin to go that would work with Lamar's limp-wristed throwing style. Minus a weapon, I don't know how worried we should be about this cat.
That is kind of like what I'm taking from what you were sharing, that it could get to that point.
Okay, both of them have taken a break, everyone. So these are two.
Anyway, I don't. This is only one of them, by the way. This is only one of them. There's just that is the whole thing. This is the entire fucking tent city out there. Is these fucking weirdos who, by the way, would not fare too well in Gaza. They would not. I don't know if they know what goes on in the Middle East, but if this cat was walking down the street anywhere in the region, he would have to be ready to fight to kill. Because if he wasn't, he'd be getting handcuffed and thrown off of a roof. They are not fans of what he is into. And yet he defends. Who are some of the other ones here? Let me see if they said they were profiling a bunch of them. Of course, Ilhan Omar visited on Thursday with her daughter, who was suspended from Barnard College. They were shaking hands with this guy who just said that Zionists should be killed. This, by the way, Columbia is a $90,000 per year school. This is again. I'm going to say that again. A $90,000 a year school. Some of those companies, those Fortune 500 companies that they're demanding the school divest from, their family members are literally on the corporate boards of those businesses. As a result of the protests, this is what's happened so far. As a result of the protests and complaints that Jewish students no longer feel safe going to class while paying $90,000 per year, the university announced that students would be allowed to attend online for the rest of the year. So the kids have to go online for class, and they have forced university officials to wave the white flag on trying to break up the camp. Late Thursday, they dropped a deadline that they had attempted to enforce that demanded the protesters leave by Friday morning. Just get the NYPD in and clear them out. I mean, it's not inhibiting their right to free speech. You can set up a space for them to, a little press fucking pavilion for them to spout out whatever fucking idea they want. But setting up a tent city and occupying a place, and now saying that Zionists should be killed and stuff. Like, this is a private college. Like, there's no, if they're creating a dangerous situation, like it's not like the government shutting down speech. They've created a tent city. They have created a village. Like, they have staked out property. Like, that isn't taking over property, isn't speech. It's an assault, right? Like, if they were all wearing MAGA clothing, what do we think the Columbia administration would be doing right now? I think we know. If this was a MAGA student union and they were doing this, they would have campus security going through with billy clubs, beating the shit out of people. Maybe that is what fucking kids should do, because that would be hilarious to just set up across from every one of these, the way the Westboro Baptist Church goes and like protests across the street from soldiers' funerals and shit, and says like God hates fags, whatever their whole thing is. What a bunch of fucking MAGA bros should do is go and just start setting up like fucking wild ass Kid Rock style MAGA encampments. Like, I'm talking about the fun side of MAGA, not like the chat room conspiracy theory side. I'm talking the fucking, like, when they do those big boat parades for Trump and they're all getting fucking boozed up, and it's like every cop that you went to high school with is out there with his large-breasted girlfriend, and they're cruising around the harbor or whatever, blasting fucking that country music about putting boots up people's asses because it's the American way. We got to start this is what those guys are good for. Just start depositing them across from every one of these encampments, and they start throwing empty cans of fucking natty ice across at them, and they're walking by and fucking farting in their faces and shit. Just some good old US of A. They're fucking making they'll get fucking hot dogs, like pork hot dogs and shit, and just grilling them up across the street it would be incredible. A beach volleyball game with women from the South with large breasts. Fun. It's going to be the summer. Let's get a fun counter protest going. All right? Let's do it. This is how we need to combat these people. We need to combat them with big tits. Yes, that is right, Cowster. We want Falcone MAGA. And that's true, Bo. There are a lot of MAGA assholes, but it's one of those it's like in Game of Thrones when the different houses align with each other. Sometimes you just need to deal with types that you find relatively unpleasant. And I think we have to acknowledge that there is kind of a fun side of MAGA where they're not thinking too deeply about the policy. They just really love waving American flags and getting drunk and firing guns. And you're kind of like, all right, this is a good time. But yeah, my problem with these kids is that they're sniveling little shits who come from a lot of money. They don't know what they're talking about. They are literally, there are a lot of, I think, what people do criticize about groups like the fucking MAGAs and everything, but they're getting a fucking pass from so much of the mainstream media and everything that because there are so many in the woke mainstream media who agree with them but can't come out and say it. So their way of doing that is by sort of tacitly supporting what they do. And again, this tent city and shit, like sometimes, well, I think of using MAGA counter campers the same way you would use like when they're trying to get the homeless guys from sleeping in the park and they play Baby Shark on repeat, or like if you're in a hostage situation, or some guys like holed up in a building and they play shitty music outside for hours on end. They're more of a tool or anything like that. But again, it would also be a lot of fun, like objectively setting off fireworks and singing patriotic songs while the likes of what the fuck is this guy's name again? Stand there chanting about the Zionists would be a good time, I think. The dirtbag left is where it's at. I remember hearing about the dirtbag left, but I forget what it is. But I'm sure it's wonderful. What is the dirtbag left? Let's give it a goog. The dirtbag left is a style of left-wing politics that eschews civility to convey a left-wing populist and anti-capitalist message using vulgarity. No, those are the ones. I feel like these kids are very close to the dirtbag left then. Because a lot of them, this is left-wing populism and anti-capitalism. They fucking hate capitalism. I remember I was talking to some kids in Washington Square Park once who were definitely part of the dirtbag left, and they were talking about like ACAB, like all capitalists are bullshit. And then I asked them what they were doing out there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we make T-shirts, we're selling them." And I had to explain to them that they were engaging in capitalism. But yeah, it's I don't know. They're just they're just such fucking irritants. I don't know what it is. They just fucking irritate. There is a chunk of the right that irritates me as well. It kind of like swings back and forth, like, and I think it's going back. Like the right is going off in a lot of weird directions too. Like the whole trad wife thing has now turned into women under 30 are women over 30 are damaged and not worthy of your time or affection. And like there's just this entire movement of guys who appear to spend all of their time hanging out on Twitter talking about how they won't go near a woman who's over the age of 30. And you get the impression that there aren't many women over or under the age of 30 who would go anywhere near them. So yes, there are people of every ilk who are incredibly annoying. But for some reason, every time, at least in recent memory, right? Because there are the Civil War was based on fucking a bunch of good old boy rednecks fucking seceding from the Union. But in recent memory, it's Occupy, and it's this, and it's Chaz, and they destroyed fucking Manhattan during lockdown. Like when I was walking into Midtown to go to work during the lockdown, like nobody else was going in. It was during the Floyd protests, and there was just shattered fucking glass everywhere, hockey puck size. And when I say hockey puck size, I mean as thick as a hockey puck as well. Like that's how fucking strong the glass that they were shattering was. And that, I feel like we saw that occur regularly over a course of many months. and it was explained away as being okay. And then some curious citizens took a tour of the Capitol. They were curious. They wanted to see where government happens, and the mainstream media went nuts. No, they all do it. Anyone who's so politically motivated that they do shit like this is annoying to me. Is probably the best way to put it. They're just I don't understand it. It's not a use of time that makes any sense to me whatsoever. And on that note, I think this will be a fun one. This will be a fun one to close on. Apparently there was a drag queen story hour, a free Palestine drag queen story hour that parents took their children to. And this is why, again, like, as obnoxious as, and MAGA is certainly obnoxious, but the left is just at this moment in time, they are so far ahead in the idiot Olympics. These are parents who took their kids to. This is a drag queen story hour for Palestine. I don't. The mental gymnastics that you need to perform when creating this event are beyond my comprehension. But let's go to the videotape.
Today what we're going to do is we're going to shout Free Palestine. Can I hear that? Free Palestine! If you're a drag queen and you know it, shout Free Palestine!
Also that the kids, that a man dressed like a woman just shouted to these kids, if you're a drag queen and you know it, shout Free Palestine. And they all shouted Free Palestine, which, again, I'm not going to get into the geopolitics of the Middle East and what the best way to handle. I don't fucking know. I have no idea. This is, there's no, I don't think there's a correct answer. It's beyond me. But having a man dressed in this manner, what is the name of said drag queen is Lil Miss Hot Mess. And if you don't know what a hot mess, if a woman describes herself as a hot mess, it usually means that she does like a lot of drinking, a lot of fornicating with different partners. So this is a sort of pervy drag queen who is not only encouraging children to shout about Palestine, which they have no idea about this. They don't understand October 7th and why there's, horrible things are happening. These kids are, they're just ignorant, easily influenced balls of forming brains. And this guy is convincing them that they're all drag queens and that they should demand a free Palestine. Like, this is a really fucked up thing to do with your kids. Like, just objectively. This is weird, and parents who do this deserve to be judged horribly. Like, this is a bizarre, and there's no explanation for this where you're like, oh yeah, this is okay. Like, this is so so beyond fucking insane that you would do this. But here we are.
If you're a drag queen and you know it and you really want to show it, you're a drag queen and you know it, shout.
And how do you do this, by the way, as a person, too? Like, you know when you're doing this that you're manipulating kids into giving off this multi-layered socio-political message that they couldn't possibly understand. Like, this is just, this country is a fucking disaster. Like, what the fuck? We need the Korean War generation so fucking badly. Like, we need a generation of disapproving grandparents to snuff all of this out real quick, like, because it is just getting out of fucking control. You're goddamn right, Bo. At least we have Sacktap. Nighttime Conqueror, this is why your kids are going to Catholic school. Yes, there's nothing that could possibly go wrong at Catholic school. Nothing that the Catholic Church has gotten its hands on has ever gone awry. Yeah. All right, guys. It is that time. It's 9:00. I have some I have some New York strips sitting in the fridge. I can get them out, let them get up to temperature. Gonna check in on the draft, see what's going on. Obviously I fucking love football, but it's funny. The NFL draft is the most meaningless thing that people get very excited and bent out of shape over. Like, everyone is going to go ballistic in one direction or the other about whoever their team picked, and it's like a massive amount of these guys are going to be bagging groceries inside of a year. Many of them will wash out of the league inside of three years. A few of them will go on to greatness. The best case scenario for most of them is that they'll have a kind of, consistent career over the course of, 5 years or so, whatever. And people are going insane over this. It's like first round draft busts are a dime a dozen, and then there are plenty of successes. Like, it's the weirdest. It's such an inexact science, and yet people go fucking crazy about it as though every pick needs to be made perfectly, and it's so weird. Sports fans are an interesting bunch. Fascinating. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up. I'm going to bid you guys farewell. Remind you to check it out. Check me out on Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler. Tell your friends. Mike's Golden Streams on YouTube, or just search Sacktap Live. And of course, grab a quick screen grab here, pop it up on your Instagram stories, tell people where they can come to have a good time on a Friday night. And I'll catch you all next time. I think live next week. I think. Not positive. Pretty sure. Adios, motherfucker.